Hi guys, and welcome to Tesla Tourist. Today we'll be looking around some of the amazing sights of the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides. Today's video will not only be about the destination, it will also be about the journey, and I will let you chill out as we travel around this stunning island. As I watch these videos, it brings back the ambience of being in Lewis with the incredible fresh air and the occasional smell of peat smoke as it wafts from a nearby house. The bracing weather and the feeling of being totally relaxed. First stop, Tolsta Beach. Here we are, arriving at Tolsta Beach. There are only a couple of cars here, but the beach is so big we may not even see the other people. It's only a short walk to the beach, and you can either follow the path or walk on the sand and follow the small river down to the sea. The Arvin Lee, and I hope I've said that correctly, flows into the sea, and you can see the brown of the peat from the moors in the water. There are just over 2 miles of golden sands with turquoise waters that look even more amazing on sunny days. A short distance from the beach we head towards Calloway Broch, also known as the Bridge to Nowhere. The bridge was part of Lord Leverhulme's plans for the island, as he wanted to build a road from Tolsta to Ness. There were about 140 men employed to build the bridge, and all of the concrete was mixed by hand. The bridge is about 50 feet high with a span of 100 feet, with the road 15 feet wide, with a 3-foot wide footpath on each side. The road was never completed, but there is a heritage trail you can take to Ness. It's about 14 miles and is graded as difficult, so you'll need to have the right gear on to try that one. Next we're going to head up to Ness, where we are going to visit the port. We need to drive back towards Stornoway and then we can head over the Barvas Moor before we go north towards Ness. Enjoy the drive. Some people ask about these structures that you find by the side of the road around the island. They're in fact bus stops, and the idea is, whichever way the wind is blowing, you can always find shelter. Very effective, but you need to make sure you look out for the buses if you're on the far side from the road. The port of Ness has an active harbour and fishing remains important in the area. The pier provides great views of the coastline and the Atlantic, but it is a bit more difficult today. You can see the port of Ness Beach, which is a great place to have a stroll. The port of Ness features in the Peter May novel The Blackhouse, which is a great read and part of a trilogy, albeit I do think he's recently released a fourth book in the series. Nearby is the Butt of Lewis Lighthouse that was built in 1862 by David Stevenson, a member of the famous Stevenson family of lighthouse engineers. It stands 121 feet tall, making it an impressive structure on the dramatic headland. Unlike most lighthouses, which are traditionally whitewashed, the Butt of Lewis Lighthouse is built from red brick, giving it a distinctive appearance. The lighthouse has been automated since 1988 and is maintained by the Northern Lighthouse Board. As you walk around the side of the lighthouse, you can experience some of the spectacular views, especially on a day like this. From here we head back down to Barvas and we will continue south along the A858. Our next stop is the Arnol Blackhouse. The Arnold Blackhouse is number 42 Arnol and is now maintained by Historic Environment Scotland. You can go in and have a look around, and they keep a peat fire burning in the living area. In addition to the living accommodation is an area where the family could keep their livestock. The Blackhouse has dry stone walls and a thatched roof weighted down with ropes and stones. It was actually lived in until 1966. Around the back of the Blackhouse you can see a peat stack, and they obviously use that to keep the peat fire burning in the living area. There is also a white house on the opposite side of the road that you can have a look around. There is an entry fee to go in here. It's very reasonable and certainly worth a visit. As we continue to travel south, we go through the village of Braga. On the right hand side we can see the whalebone arch, which is made from the jawbones of a blue whale that washed up on the shore in Braga in 1920. The whale had a harpoon in it, and that can be seen suspended from the arch. You can pull over and there is a gate you can go through to have a closer look. We're now going to visit our second beach of this trip at Dalbeg. On the way down to the beach we encounter a Tesco delivery driver, and he has an interesting suggestion on how we can get by. Good to see that they deliver out here, and that is great value for only £7.99 a month. Well done Tesco's, and I'm not sponsored by them. This is a much smaller beach than Tolsta and sits in a small cove. The sea is truly spectacular here and very popular with surfers, but that's not one for me. Our next stop is the Garenin Blackhouse village. This is an amazing place to visit, and you can see traditional activities including weaving the famous Harris tweed. There is a small shop on site and a cafe, but you'll need to check the opening hours to make sure it's in season. You can also rent out the black houses as family accommodation, and there is also a hostel. As you walk down towards the bottom of the village, you will find that they have their own secluded beach. I have stayed here in the past and I can thoroughly recommend it, and I'll put a link to their website in the description. We will now take a short drive to Calloway Broch, which is believed to date back to the 1st century AD. The Broch is believed to have been built as a defensive dwelling to provide protection from both the weather and potential enemies. It's an impressive structure, and the walls stand at about 9 metres tall. You can actually go inside the Broch, but you shouldn't climb onto the walls, and you'll need to duck to get inside, but it's really interesting to have a look around. One of the places you must visit when you're on the island is the Callanish standing stones. Unfortunately, when we went there, it was closed and there's extensive work going on refurbishing the visitor centre. I believe it is possible to go to the top of the village in the car and access it from there, but we didn't do that on this occasion. But I have got some footage from when I visited there previously. The centre is due to open in 2026, but it'd be best to check back on their website in case it's open any sooner. It's now time for us to head back to the cottage, and on this occasion we're going to use the Pentland Road to head back, and that takes you from Calloway through to Stornoway. It's a single track road with passing places, and whilst there is a shortcut, it's also an interesting drive across the moor, and you shouldn't meet too many cars on the way. As we get a bit closer to Stornoway, I'll give you an update on the charging. Over the 2 days we recorded a total of 206 miles and charged at the end of each day, taking on about 100 miles of range on each occasion. The chargers on South Beach unfortunately were broken when we went back to them, so we returned to the council offices, and our friend in the Saphira was still there, and he remained there for the entire week that we stayed on the island. So I try to do something else while I'm charging, so don't stop to charge, but charge while I'm stopped, and use the charging space as a private parking space. On this occasion we decided to go back to Tesco's to do our shopping on each occasion, and I can assure you I'm still not sponsored by them. So the charging was quite slow at 45 kilowatts, and it took a total of 1 hour and 33 minutes to take on 69 kilowatts of energy at 59 pence a kilowatt, which is a little bit more expensive than Tesla, and that cost a total of £40.72. The economy we'd been getting wasn't particularly good at only 3 miles a kilowatt, and I normally expect around about 4. But I do acknowledge I had been leaving Sentry mode on occasions, mainly because I forgot to turn it off. You also need to factor in that whilst on those journeys there were quite strong winds, which will affect the economy. Okay, that's it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching, especially as you got to the end. And next time we'll be doing a trip around the Isle of Harris. So I'll catch you on the next one.